On January 11th, 2023, a massive disruption struck the U.S. travel industry when a system outage caused the Federal Aviation Administration to issue an order preventing domestic flights from taking off. The problem was allegedly traced to something called the FAA's Notice to Air Missions system. This was the first instance that a nationwide halt on departures had occurred since the terror attacks of September 11th, 2001. In this video, we will examine the remarkable numerical synchronicities on the date of this recent failure, a review of the incredible alignments between the calendar and the occulted language of Gematria, a number lettering method that attributes a set of numbers to words, names, and phrases. The man in charge in the Department of Transportation, which oversees the FAA's operations, is Pete Buttigieg, a former Democratic presidential candidate who swallowed his pride and endorsed the current marionette in office, settling for a smaller role so he could instead be involved in this event, which appears to have been a secretive ritual disguised as a random day of chaos. To begin, let's look at the date that this occurred. January 11th, the date written as 1/11 here in the United States. It's important to understand the connection between the numbers 1 and 6. Consider how the glyph for the number 1 closely represents the Hebrew letter Vav, which is the 6th letter in the ancient Hebrew alphabet, where many believe that Gematria originated. 1 hour is 60 minutes, a minute is 60 seconds, and the first perfect number is 6. The simplest form of Gematria is called ordinal, and simply numbers the alphabet 1 through 26, each letter relative to its position. The English Sumerian cipher uses the same order, but multiplies every number by 6 prior to adding it to the equation. Consider how this connects to the date September 11th, which is the date that leaves 111 days in the year. The attacks occurred primarily in New York, which has an ordinal value of 111, but a Sumerian sum of 666. January 11th had numerology of 55, 19, 10, and 35. In the base methods of Gematria, Satan sums to 55, 19, 10, and 35. The name God also 55 and 10, using the reverse methods. This brings us to the founder of the Church of Satan, Anton LaVeyan, whose numerology is heavily connected to this week's event. A cipher I commonly teach on this channel is called Satanic Gematria. Using this method, the phrase Satanic Gematria sums to 666. This is the 36th triangular number. You add every number 1 through 36, you get a sum of 666. When Anton LaVeyan founded the Church of Satan, it was the same month that he turned 36 years old. If you add 6 plus 6 plus 6, you get a sum of 18, and Satanic Gematria ends at 61, which is the 18th prime number, and this method was heavily attributed. The system that failed was called Notice to Air Missions. In the Satanic cipher, this phrase sums to 911, which of course conjures memories of the attacks of September 11th, 2001. Pete Buttigieg, the current head of the U.S. Department of Transportation, was born on January 19th, the date that we write here as 1/19. Anton LaVeyan founded the Church of Satan on April 30th of 1966, which is a date with primary numerology of 119. The number 119 reversed is 911. And measuring from the birth of Anton LaVeyan to the birth of Pete Buttigieg gets us 18,911 days. LaVeyan died on October 29th of 1997, a date that fell a span of 9 months and 11 days after Buttigieg's birthday. In Satanic Gematria, the phrase transportation secretary sums to 1,119. In the standard reduction or Pythagorean method, Secretary of Transportation sums to 119. In the standard form of English gematria, the name Pete Buttigieg equals 1019. Using triangular numbers in a cipher called trigonal, the name Pete Buttigieg sums to 1191. Now think about this date and how it may reflect the date of September 11th, 2001, as it's written in some parts of the world. September 11th is actually believed by many historians to be the real birthday of Jesus Christ. In this trigonal method, the name Jesus Christ sums to 1339. In the Satanic cipher, Peter Paul Montgomery Buttigieg, his full name equals 1339. Measuring from the death of Anton LaVeyan to the outage was 9,205 days. It also occurred 74 days after the anniversary of his death. In standard gematria, Jesus Christ equals 925. In ordinal, Jesus equals 74. What I consider to be the most significant large number method is called Latin, or Agrippa's key, a cipher that's based in the original Latin alphabetic order, with modern English characters placed at the end. Another method associated with this is Latin ordinal, which I don't talk about too often, but this does appear to be a relevant method. Using this cipher, Anton Sandor LaVeyan, his full name is 214, whereas Anton LaVeyan is 124, which contains the same 3 digits. The number 214 is the reverse value of Church of Satan and Peter Buttigieg. Measuring from the FAA outage to the attacks of September 11th in 2001 is exactly 21 years and 4 months. Meanwhile, Anton LaVeyan would have been exactly 1,240 sidereal months, or lunar orbits, old for the outage. A sidereal month lasts about 27.3 days and tracks the time it takes for the moon to complete one orbit in relation to the stars. Using the standard Latin method, Anton Sandor LaVeyan sums to 2122. The FAA outage was 21 years, 122 days after September 11th. In reverse, the word Satanic equals 122. The Church of Satan was founded in the city of San Francisco, which equals 122, a city which sits on the 122nd meridian. The number 666 equals 122 with the S exception. In ordinal, Satanic equals 67, and it just so happens that Anton LaVeyan died at the age of 67 years old. In the Satanic method, FAA has gematria of 113. The outage was due to a failure of the Notice to Air Missions system, which equals 113 in reduction. The outage occurred 1,113 weeks after 9/11. Not only that, but Anton LaVeyan would have been exactly 1,113 months old. The FAA adheres to civil aviation standards enacted by the International Civil Aviation Organization, or ICAO, which took effect on April 4th, 1947, exactly 1,013 sidereal months before the massive disruption. There are 11 months and 3 days between the founding of the Church of Satan and the U.S. Department of Transportation, led by Pete Buttigieg. The date that Buttigieg was sworn in fell exactly 311 sidereal months after the death of Anton LaVeyan. 311 is the gematria of the number 33 with capital letters. We'll talk about how this ties in a second. 311 is the 64th prime number, divisible only by 1 and itself. LaVeyan was born on a date with primary numerology of 64. This is the Latin value of Satanic. On the date of the FAA outage, the FAA was 64 years old. They were also 141 days after their anniversary. This is the Gematria value of Anton LaVeyan, Satanic Gematria, and the number 33. When you reflect the Department of Transportation's logo in a mirror, the blue colors appear to take the shape of 3 6s or perhaps 3 9s. A week ago, the DOT turned 669 months old. When Anton LaVeyan passed away, it was 201 days after his birthday. In the alphabetic order, 666 equals 201. 666 has gematria of 275. The FAA outage occurred 275 days after Anton LaVeyan's birthday. This is another number that's connected to 666 through time. 666 hours is 27.75 days. 6,666 hours is 277.75 days, a pattern that continues for each 6 that you add to the equation. 275 years equates to exactly 3,300 months. Notice how both Satan and God equal 330 in Sumerian gematria. Not only does the number 33 have reduction values of 66 and 60, but in ordinal, it sums to 156, which matches both 666 and 666s. To make this even more intriguing, the 156th prime number is 911. Meanwhile, the 33rd prime number is 137. And this brings us back to the Church of Satan, which was founded in the year 66. The Church of Satan is currently headquartered in Poughkeepsie, New York. Notice how Poughkeepsie has matching 137 gematria with Church of Satan in ordinal. In fact, Poughkeepsie even has the same digits as Church of Satan in Latin, 509. 137 also connects us to the Federal Aviation Administration and the Secretary of Transportation, both 137 in reduction. Notice how outage gives us a 137 with capital letters. So the Church of Satan was founded in the year 1966, whereas the DOT was founded in 1967. Well, on the date that Buttigieg was sworn in as the head of the DOT, the organization was 19,667 days old. What's more fascinating about this measurement, however, is that it's also exactly 666 lunar phases. 666 is an upside-down 999. We'll talk a lot about the moon in this video. The moon has gematria of both 90 and 99. Measuring from Anton LaVeyan's birthday to the date that Buttigieg was sworn in was 90 years, 9 months, and the 9th prime number of days later. In Latin gematria, 666 sums to 2038. These are the same digits we find when we look at the average distance that the moon is from the Earth. When you include the word "and," the moon has matching gematria with 666. The numbers 238 are significant to the FAA, who was founded on the 23rd of August, or 23/8. On the date that the FAA had to ground domestic flights, Pete Buttigieg had been in office for 23 months, 8 days. The Federal Aviation Administration's emblem has the winged foot of Hermes, or Mercury as it's called in Roman lore. Mercury is the god of travelers, boundaries, and roads. This is symbolized by the presence of Mercury above Grand Central Terminal in New York. In 2020, one of the world's most popular athletes, Kobe Bryant, died while traveling in a helicopter. Notice how he shares the same August 23rd birthday with the FAA. In fact, he was born exactly 240 months after the FAA was founded, a lot like the jersey number he wore for the latter half of his career. In the alphabetic order, the number 240 sums to 216. 216 is 6 times 6 times 6. At the equator, the moon is exactly 2,160 miles across. This brings us to President John F. Kennedy, whose birthday is May 29th, the day leaving 216 days in the year. During his presidency, John F. Kennedy told the public that we would be putting a man on the moon before the end of the decade, a promise which would be fulfilled after his assassination. This speech was at Rice University. JFK was the 35th president. The Notice to Air mission system failed exactly 21,600 days after the assassination of President JFK. This is representative of the number 2016, which is the 63rd triangular number. The Notice to Air mission system is abbreviated as NOTAM, which equals 63 ordinal. JFK was assassinated in the year 63, exactly 63 months after the establishment of the Federal Aviation Administration. Following the assassination, Lyndon B. Johnson was sworn in as the next president at 2:38 p.m., which reflects that 23/8 founding date. Johnson became the 36th president, which again connects to the number of the beast. During the weekend before the FAA's catastrophe, both the Saturday night and Sunday night NFL football games ended with a score of 20-16. Both games knocked the losers, the Tennessee Titans and Green Bay Packers, out of the playoffs. What made this particularly bizarre is that earlier in the season, the Titans were one of the league's best teams, while the Packers were one of the worst. The Titans beat the Packers in Week 11, but then failed to win a game for the rest of the season. The Packers, meanwhile, caught fire after that game, so it's as if these two teams switched roles right after they played. Over the past couple of years, both Tennessee and Wisconsin have been the scene of two domestic terror incidents connected to Christmas. On Christmas Day in 2020, there was a bombing in Nashville, Tennessee. In 2021, there was a vehicle ramming attack at the Waukesha Christmas Parade. 2 days after the Christmas Day bombing, the Tennessee Titans played the Green Bay Packers, a matchup which typically occurs only once every 4 years. This game had a total of 54 points, a number found in the Gematria of Tennessee Titans, Green Bay, and the Moon. The 216th prime number is 1321. The FAA outage this week occurred 13 months and 21 days after the Waukesha Christmas Parade attack. Notice how the state of Wisconsin sums to 1231, which contains the same 4 digits. Wisconsin was founded on May 29th of 1848. May 29th is also the birthday of former President John F. Kennedy. The Christmas Parade attack was on November 21st, which was the eve of the JFK assassination date. JFK was born exactly 69 years after Wisconsin was admitted to the Union. In reverse reduction, 666 and 666s both equal 69, which is a 6 and an upside-down 6. Measuring from the date of the assassination to the birthday of Darrell Brooks, who carried out the parade attack, gives us exactly 6,666 days. When the U.S. Department of Transportation was founded, it was 666 sidereal months after the birth of John F. Kennedy. Notice how the name Darrell Edward Brooks Jr. is a supermatch in Gematria with John Fitzgerald Kennedy. So both of these attacks were connected to Christmas. In Latin Gematria, Christmas equals 411. This is like the date 4/11 or April 11th, which is the birthday of Anton LaVeyan. JFK was assassinated from the Book Depository building in Dallas, Texas, whose address is 411 Elm Street. Notice how the word assassin also sums to 411. Measuring from the Christmas Day bombing in Nashville to the FAA outage was 747 days. This is a number that reminds us of Boeing, the airplane manufacturer who makes the 747. Boeing has matching Gematria with Christmas, 110 and 133. Last month, Boeing rolled out its final 747 ever made, and that happened 36 days before the disruption. Looking back at this number 666, which connects to the moon in this Latin cipher so significantly. Using ordinal Latin Gematria, 666 has a sum of 256. When man allegedly first walked on the moon in 1969, they stepped foot on the surface at 256 UTC. Remember, this was in the Apollo craft, and the fake moon landing carried out by the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, all with Gematria of 666. Measuring from the founding of the Church of Satan to the FAA outage was 56 years, 256 days. Furthermore, measuring from the 9/11 attacks to the January 11th disruption was exactly 256 months. The Church of Satan was founded on a date with numerology of 56. We call this the life lesson number. In reduction, Church of Satan sums to 56. On the Church of Satan's 56th anniversary in April of 2022, there was a partial solar eclipse that belonged to Saros series 119. The FAA outage was 256 days later. The number 119 is very similar to the number 116. Solar Saros 116 is the last Saros series to have ended. Not only did that final eclipse take place on a date with numerology of 119, but the series ended exactly 11,009 days before the attacks of September 11th. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you'd like to support this work and see more Gematria videos like this in the future, please visit gematrinator.com and check out the memberships link. Links also below in the description. Peace, love, God bless. Talk to you next time. See ya.